Real talk, your butt goes through it. Chafing, itching, mystery rashes, a wild night, or just too many damn squats. That's where anything but comes in. It's like chapstick for your butthole, loaded with all organic aloe, vitamin E, arnica, and virgin hemp seed oil. All the things that say, shh, it's okay, baby, I got you. So give your butt the same energy that you give your face. Heal, soothe, and whether it's hemorrhoids or any other kind of butthole drama, keep that peach happy. Go to anythingbrands.com and use code DEAREVERYONE for a little something off because your butt deserves a little love too. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Dear Everyone. I'm your host, Victoria Masters, aka V So Spicy. I'm actually your favorite host. And today we're going to celebrate. There we go again with the celebration. We are going to commemorate. This is a smart podcast and we use big words. We're going to commemorate the 20th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. And if you know, you know. And if you don't know, you're going to find out as we talk about everything from immediately before, during, and after, and all of the effects that it's had on so many people's lives. But this is my story. And Hurricane Katrina, should have called it Hurricane Georgia Bush. Mal doesn't know that. She doesn't know what that means. But, it's Lil Wayne, Mal. So we're going to go in, and I wrote down and jotted down some questions that I've had throughout the years and more recently that I've seen in various forums of continuing the conversation of the stories of Katrina. So I want to thank you guys for listening to this because this is really the first time I'm actually sharing like this. I'm as vulnerable as I am, and as much as I share all of my trauma, this is one of those things that I don't talk about a lot, and I don't understand why. I guess like at the 15-year mark, so about 5 years ago, I really started to notice that like, yeah, this has affected me more than I thought it would. So let's get started. Buckle up. Here we go. What's the first smell or sound that still comes back to me from that week? So I was 14 years old, and literally, this is so bizarre and such a strange detail. But when I think of Hurricane Katrina, I immediately think of the fact that my mom, who was not a baker by any means, was so anxious the night before we left to evacuate that she made 2 or 3 pies and put them in the freezer and was like, we're going to eat this when we get back home from evacuating. So I just think about that all the time because I'm like, we could have been doing so many other things. And my mom was like, pack your bags. There's a big hurricane coming, but also I'm going to bake these pies. I'll never forget that. And I think about those pies often. I think about the molds that must have happened pretty quickly. I think about the fact that I was entering 9th grade, and for South Louisiana, if you don't go to public school, especially like 20 years ago, like I was, then you went to private Catholic school and in 8th grade normally. So my 8th grade year, I went to a school called Dominican, and it was an all-girls Catholic school, and it's really, really hard there, like very, very like homework focused, homework heavy. And I'll never forget that I decided that summer that I was going to actually give my all for my freshman year and that I was going to like take school seriously. And so I packed a small bag that had 2 or 3 nights of clothes, a really nice Victoria's Secret blanket that I had just been gifted not that long before, and my book bag so I could study because I had just started school that week. And I knew I was going to have a test. And so that's how I spent my precious energy and what I would bring. That's all I had for the rest of my life. No, I'm just kidding. I have stuff now. But that's all I had from that form. Like that's all I took with me. And I think about that sometimes too. Because like I was like really dead ass studying. And meanwhile, Katrina was like, you're not going back. You'll never be the same. So anyway, it said, what was your life like the week before Katrina hit? And yeah, that's what it was. I was really serious about school. because it was a smart podcast then and it's a smart podcast now. And I decided I was going to be studious and I was going to make my family proud of me for once because I was a bad kid. Turns out that that was the only week that I was ever a good student. Because after that, I was like, fuck it, we ball. Like, life isn't real. Like, none of this is normal. It said, was this just another hurricane warning to you at first? And I think that's very important to note if you're not from South Louisiana, that we have had so many hurricanes and still do all the time that it's so easy for other people to judge and say, like, why didn't you leave? Why didn't people leave? Why didn't everyone leave? Why didn't everyone evacuate? Why didn't people take it more seriously? Like, this was like just another year. Like, it's hurricane season. Like, of course we've got to leave for the weekend for this hurricane, or of course we're going to take a few days off of school. Like, very rarely did something happen to where it would like really affect a bulk amount of people, and definitely not sustain the kind of damage and trauma that Katrina did. It's still to this day, from my understanding, the most expensive natural disaster and expensive hurricane for sure to hit the United States. So think about that. Okay, clock that, bitch. That's why, because it's expensive to leave and evacuate. And it's hard. You have to get all of your dogs and animals together. You have to like make sure everybody's medication. What if you're on like buku medications to stay alive? You're like, okay, why am I going to go spend thousands of dollars and then this hurricane not even be anything and it just barely knock a fucking tree down? But I hate that sentiment that people give South Louisianians, especially, like, why do you still stay in Louisiana? Because I fucking like it. I hate it, but I like it, okay? And the girls that get it. Can you understand that? She hates it, so no, she doesn't understand. And then also the fact that it's not easy to just pick up everything, stop school, stop work, all this stuff, when the chance of you having to still go to work the next day are very likely. Like, that's way higher than devastation, okay? I digress. So, yeah, it was just another hurricane warning, okay? There was a little something different in the air. I will say that. Katrina, there was something. The logical brain told our parents, like, now as an adult myself, I can see why that was confusing to a lot of adults, where they could feel that the air was different, but also, like, they were like, no, we have this happen all the time. It's fine. Let's just stay put. Spoiler alert, shouldn't stay put. Did your parents talk about it like a big deal or more like background noise? Yeah, like I said, like there was a difference in the air. Like there was a certain anxiety to it all. Like my dad, he wanted to like make sure all his boats and all this stuff were okay. In the evacuation process. And my mom, we waited till the last minute, like truly the last minute. And we went to Dallas to visit family, and something felt anxious, but they were trying to be cool. They were like, let's not stress the kids out. So I'm like, all right, cool. It wasn't cool. What was the vibe in the car? Serious, chaotic, or kind of fun? I don't remember the ride going there, other than I can still to this day envision myself with my little backpack and my little science book, and I was studying. I was studious. Okay? Clock that, all right? I do remember the ride back home. This is a little off kilter. The ride back home from Dallas, my friends in Dallas gave me a parting gift of LSD, and they put it on, y'all weren't expecting that, huh? They put LSD on ice and like a napkin, and they sent it home with me as like, enjoy your ride back, enjoy your trip. I didn't take it because I was too scared. I was like, this is spooky. What if this is really bad? Looking back at it, like, why did my mom not say, like, why do you have a fucking Tupperware container with ice in it? Stupid. That's another thing. I want to say this. As a parent now and as an adult now, I have so much grace for how my parents dealt with everything or didn't deal with stuff then, because their whole lives changed too, and they had to think of not just of themselves and their homes and all these things, but like keeping their kids cool. And I definitely took advantage of that and manipulated that situation to where I could be bad because they were so traumatized and out of it themselves that's when I would like sneak out and do bad things. But like looking back at it, like they were stressed. When I'm the adult and I have to be the adult for my son, I am stressed. Every hurricane season, my current husband, my now husband is always activated for the National Guard. My ex-husband, his dad, is a police officer and his stepmom's a police officer. So they all have to stay. Like, it's always just me and Trace, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. Where are the adults? I'm the adult. I hate that for me and him, honestly. All right, where'd you stay after evacuating? Was it one place or were you bouncing around? We went to Dallas, and being in Dallas with family definitely like helped break it up and helped that like fear that came in, because the hurricane hitting wasn't the worst part. It was those days after. It's when you started watching the news and seeing that that's when the floods happened, was after. Like, that's when the levees broke. That's when everything got really spooky really fast. And my grandfather stayed back, and I have a false memory, which is a trauma brain thing, that me and my cousin were just talking about this. We have this distinct memory of seeing my grandfather on the news waving his hands, and that's how we figured out that he was still alive, because nobody could get in touch with him for weeks after. Turns out that didn't happen. I don't know. I don't know, you guys.
Let's be so for real. Shopping should feel fun, not like a chore. And that's what makes Tresco Boutique so special. They're all about cute, affordable looks that fit your real life. From easy staples to statement pieces that instantly make your outfit. They carry styles for every shape and mood, plus shoes and accessories to top it off. And the best part, it's more than just shopping. It's kind of like hanging out with your friends who hype you up and help you find exactly what works for you. So, whether you're browsing online or popping into their amazing location in Slidell, Louisiana, Tresco Boutique is where you'll find your next favorite look. Check them out at tres-co.com. That's TRES-CO.com.
So I'm trying not to go down in a spiral of like, oh, is everything I remember about anything a lie? Maybe. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know why me and my cousin both remember that. Nina, if you're listening to this, like, what the hell? Okay. Do you remember the first image or news clip that made it real to you? I mean, I feel like because it was 20 years ago, I just remember like flashes of seeing the people like looting and being rescued and things like that. And that was like terrifying because, like I said, we still had lots of family who stayed back. We very quickly learned within a few days that St. Bernard Parish, which is where my house was complete and total devastation, 100%. It ended up being that not only was our house just destroyed from the hurricane, but because we lived close to the oil refinery, we also had like feet of oil in our house. So, like, 100% inhabitable, the whole town. That was spooky, seeing pictures of like places like the Taco Bell being underwater, or you know what I mean? Like, just seeing places that were like, you know what they are, and seeing them like that was really hard to see. But again, I was a child. Like, I was 14. I'm thinking like, well, what the fuck am I going to do about school? Why did I study for biology? And now I'm going to have to go to another school. Am I going to go to school in New Orleans? And then everybody's like, no, bitch. Like, there's no New Orleans. And then I was like, shit, I'm going to have to go to school in Texas. And I'd heard like horror stories about Texas being 5,000 people per high school. And I was like, oh my God, like, what am I going to do? Like, I went to an all girl Catholic school, you know, like, this is crazy. But then I was like, oh, I could reinvent myself. Me, always trying to capitalize on reinventing myself. It started Maddie knew who she was from a young age. And I got really excited about that. My 14-year-old brain loved that. And I could be whoever I wanted to. And I made lifelong friends. My friend Carly from Texas, like, still is like a piece of my family to me. Like, she could call me up right now and she could come live with me. I don't care. What did you lose in Katrina that you still think about? I mean, I literally lost fucking everything, but I think about those pies a lot. Was there one small random thing that you lost that really stuck with you? The pies. I also lost that version of myself, and I'm really glad, because being in St. Bernard at that time, I had kind of like gotten this like random. Now, mind you, like, I wasn't having sex, like, I was a child at that point. It wasn't that long after though. Trauma, but all that to say, like, I think about stuff like that where I lost who I was. Like, I lost my identity to my hometown then, for sure. Like, we never went back. I briefly lived close to there, and it was never the same to me. And like, I really liked who I had kind of like stepped into as myself. So, losing that, there is a sad part of me, but I think I like washed away a lot of my pre Katrina trauma with the storm. But you know what? Turns out I didn't. I just stuffed it down in these hips. That's why my hips are so tight. When did you realize life wasn't going to be normal anytime soon? When I moved back and saw that everybody was in FEMA trailers. And I was like, this is ghetto. This is trifling. Why are we living in FEMA trailers? I hate that for us. I didn't actually live in one, but like everybody else did. And like we had to go to school. So all the Catholic schools merged into like pretty much one school, and boys and girls all together, and I had to go to school at night, which was pretty dope, honestly. But yeah, that was crazy. That was weird. Was it harder for you or your parents to see the damage? As far as my mom goes, I just remember her trying to like shield us from a lot of stuff. Like, I don't remember her crying. I don't remember any of that. Like, I barely went back to my old house. I might have went one time, and she wouldn't let us go in there or anything, obviously. Katrina changed everything for my parents, though. Like, it's what moved along, and they ended up getting divorced during Katrina. And I think about that now when I went through my divorce during COVID and how hard that was to navigate all these big, huge life changes at one time. So again, I have a lot of grace for my mom in that because that shit was hard, hard as fuck. I think for my dad, from what I can remember, I feel like he ran away from everything. Like he kind of like left us to, and by us, like me and my mom, and kind of hid under the guise of like, well, I've got to work now. Like, I've got to come back and rebuild everything I just lost as far as work goes, when we probably needed like the emotional support of like our dad at that time. But again, I have a lot of grace for him now because like shit, I run away from my problems too. The fuck, like, it's not good, but like he's definitely apologized for it since. So for my mom, I think her trying so hard to not make us feel like we were missing out on anything, she in turn doubled down on her vices and her issues, you know. I've never been the same though. My sense of security was definitely lost in that, and seeing how people deal with things during that time. Do you think you're more prepared for emergencies than most people? Absolutely not. Still to this day, some things are insanity, right? Like, you continue to make those mistakes. I pretend like I'm not scared about hurricanes and stuff until I'm scared. And then I'm like, shit, I'm the adult. What's one thing about Katrina you think outsiders will never understand? I think they'll never understand why everyone doesn't just leave during a hurricane warning or evacuation. And I think they'll never understand why people would move back to South Louisiana. And it's one of those things, if you know, you know. Like, some things can't be rebuilt the same, and some things are never the same. My husband and my son asked me what is different about like life from Katrina, pre Katrina to post Katrina. And I think it's the sense of family. Like, families are not the same anymore. Like, I do think that that's like just across the board how life is now because of just how people are culturally. But I think New Orleans is one of those last areas to adapt to that cultural change, because we still like we're so down for each other, and now like everybody's displaced. Like, once people got displaced once, then they never really dealt with family the same. If I could go back and talk to my teenage self and take myself back to that week, I think I would tell her, don't pack your backpack, pack your best clothes, because the people in Dallas are rich as fuck, and you are going to have to get like care packages of tampons and shit in your fancy Dallas school because you're poor now. That's what I would tell her. You're broke and you have no clothes, and you're a teenage girl and you want clothes. Oh, that's another thing that pisses me off when I think about it, is that like everybody who donates stuff, I'll never forgive you motherfuckers for this. If you're making donations of any kind to people, donate good stuff. Don't just be like, oh, I'm going to give my like raggedy ass shit. And that is not to be in a way of like, oh, like, you don't appreciate what you no. Let's really think. Are you supposed to be donating shit that you don't want to wear anymore because it has holes and is musty? Then the girl you're donating it to doesn't either. It's fucked up. Like, donate what you would want to donate to Jesus. How about that? If Jesus was back and you don't know which one he is, and he's in a lineup of displaced humans from Katrina, or I don't know, immigrants, I don't know, anyway, then maybe you donate your best from your heart. You dumb fucks. Okay, what do I want my kids to know about this part of my story? I want Trace to know to always evacuate with photos. We don't even have photos anymore. Everything's digital. So I guess that's nonsensical. Get help. Get go to therapy. I think that hot take. I think that everyone should have gotten free therapy, children and all, post Katrina. Should have been like at least 8 sessions mandated by the government. You want to talk about government mandates? Let's mandate some fucking therapy. Anyway, do you think Katrina made you a different person than you would have been without it? 100%. I would still be living in my hometown, and they were eating my ass up. Okay, like they would call me all these names. I don't want to say like I was like bullied, but like because like of course I would like take it and just be like, all right, like ooh, yeah, I'm a hoe. I'm like, I only had my first kiss, like you dumb fucks. But I definitely would have been different. I would have definitely been a different human being. I definitely, as a result of the trauma of these things and as a result of my parents' trauma, made it way easier for me to be a bad girl in my high school years because my family was traumatized and they were trying to just survive, and I was out here thoughting and trotting. I say all that to say, when I think about Katrina now and I think about like teenage brain, I didn't have like the capacity to process a loss like that. So for the people who ask, like, do you think it makes like going through Katrina, it makes you a different person? I do. And I think everyone is. And some people dealt with it differently. Some people won't even feel the ramifications of it if they haven't dealt with it properly, way down the line later in life. I mean, some people have had physical ramifications of it from inhaling toxic fumes from staying and things like that. But thank y'all for listening and thank you for being curious. And the biggest thing I could say is like, be more curious about why people stay and why they don't evacuate. Even if you have resources and money, it's not an easy thing when the reality is like you never know what's going to happen. Things like this shift and change at the last minute. Sometimes like the biggest storms that happen don't even make sense for 15 years. So be curious, be cute, be cunty. This is Dear Everyone. If you loved this, you're really going to love the stuff that we didn't air. Uncut convos, spicy extras, my thoughts after the mic drops, all waiting for you over on our Patreon at patreon.com/V So Spicy. It's where the secrets live. See you inside.